Good morning and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Kent, where our mission is to inspire love, work for justice, and grow together in community. This is a place where you can bring and be your whole self. My name is Elaine Bowen, and I'm serving as this morning's worship associate. Our worship leader is Commissioned Lay Minister Kathy Kearns. We are also joined in service this morning with our music director, Emily Hall, our book reader, Raylyn Rome, as well as all of you. Let's now take a moment to breathe. Enter into this time of community, this holy, this sacred space, and invite the Spirit of life to be present among us as we reflect on compassion. Come, let us worship together.
May I be well, may I be peaceful and at ease, may I be whole, may you be filled with loving kindness, may you be well, may you be filled with loving kindness, may you be well, may you be peaceful and at ease, may you be whole, may we be filled with loving kindness, may we be well, may we be filled with loving kindness, may we be well, may we be peaceful and at ease, may we be whole.
David Richo says, compassion is love's response to pain. It seems obvious we would want to respond to suffering we see with compassion, yet it can be a challenge to open our hearts to show compassion to everyone. Do we truly believe in universal compassion for all? Our second Unitarian Universalist principle calls us to affirm and promote justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. How can we bring more love into the world by nurturing compassion in ourselves and others? This service will consider complex questions about how we can show compassion amidst suffering. After the time for all ages, we will sing out the younger children as well as any youth who would like to participate in the activities planned by our RT team. Come, let us worship on the meaning of compassion and how we can support one another in our aspiration to be compassionate people.
The chalice. It is a symbol of the Unitarian Universalist faith. The chalice unites us in worship, reminds us of our search for truth and meaning, and inspires hope for a more just world. As Raylyn lights our chalice, I invite those on Zoom, please light your home chalice and join me in reading our covenant. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
If any young children would like to come up for the story, then they're welcome to. You're still a child. The story is Come With Me by Holly McGree and illustrated by Pascal Lemerite. All over the world, the news told and retold of anger and hatred, people against people, and the little girl was frightened by everything she heard and saw and felt. She asked her papa if there was something she could do to make the world a better place. Her papa said, "Come with me." Hand in hand, they walked out the door to the subway. Waiting there on the platform, her papa tipped his hat to those he met, and so the little girl did too. They rode the train and the tunnels underground. The girl and her papa were brave and kind, and that day they won a tiny battle over fear for themselves and for the people of the world. The news kept telling of anger and hatred, and the little girl asked her mama what she could do to make the world a better place. Her mama said, "Come with me." They went to the grocery to buy some things for dinner. Because one person doesn't represent a family or a race or the people of a land. Her mama cooked, and the girls set the table piece by piece as she'd always done. Plate in the middle, knife and spoon to the right, fork on the left, napkin by its side, water glasses. The little girl sat with her mama and papa, and they ate together. The dog nuzzled her under the table. She scratched his head. "I want to do something of my own," she said. "Can I walk the dog?" Her parents looked at each other, and then they looked at their child. They let her go and sent a message to the world. They would not live in fear. And when the little girl opened the door, the boy across the hall opened his door too. "Where are you going?" he asked. The little girl said, "Come with me, because two people together are stronger than one." The girl, the boy, and the dog were happy to be out. One step at a time, they understood what they could do to make the world a better place. They could go on. Brave, gentle, strong, and kind to one another and all living things. As tiny as it was, their part mattered in the world. Your part matters too. Come with me. The end.
Each week, we create a time of shared stillness for prayer, reflection, gratitude, or meditation. We pause to remember who we truly are, reflect on life, and reconnect with the sacred mystery that is at the very heart of life itself. Let us enter a period of silence. We also take time to honor one another's journeys in the spirit of being a community of compassion and care, where we both give and receive care. We take time to share those sorrows and struggles that are in our hearts right now. If you're on Zoom, please share your sorrows in the chat and I will read them aloud. David shares that his mom moved into memory care this week and is adjusting fairly well. We send our thoughts of love out to both David and his mom, Ruth, as they adapt to this change. Sandy Eagland asked us to send love and healing to our friend Debbie, whose son died last weekend of an overdose. Our hearts break with this news. We are so sorry to hear, and we send out our love and our healing thoughts to them as they grieve. Cheryl shares that her illness is keeping her from helping to decorate the church, and that saddens her not to be part of that today. We miss your friendly, welcoming presence, Cheryl. And we hope that you keep on your journey of healing that you've been on for already a couple of weeks. We hope it continues to progress well. We're still thinking of you, Cheryl. I invite you now to speak the names of anyone who is in need of our love and support now. For today's prayer, I invite you to participate in a loving kindness meditation. This is a meditation practice where we send our loving energy into the world to promote feelings of compassion in ourselves and others. We will start by sending good wishes to ourselves. I will say a line, and I will ask you to repeat it. May I be well. May I be at peace. May I be loved. And now I invite you to bring to mind somebody you're really close to, somebody who is there for you, they support you, they respect you, they're your person you can always turn to. And let's send out our loving thoughts to them. May you be well. May you be at peace. May you be loved. Now we'll bring to mind somebody maybe a little further out that you know. Somebody you know, but maybe you're not good friends with them. You know them, you've met them. It could be somebody in this room. It could be somebody in another part of your life. Let's send some nice good wishes out to that person. May you be well. May you be at peace. May you be loved. And now, to challenge ourselves a little, let's think of somebody that you might be having some difficulty with. Maybe they've done something that upsets you or angers you, or they're just not your kind of person. Somehow they just kind of rub you the wrong way. But bring that person to mind, because we want everybody to be free of suffering. So let's bring them to our minds and let's send them good wishes. May you be well. May you be at peace. May you be loved. And finally, we can send out our loving thoughts to the whole world, to all beings. We know there are people all over this world who need our love. So let's honor all beings. May all beings be well. May all beings be at peace. May all beings be loved. May we carry this blessing with us out into the world. Amen. Life also brings joy, wonder, and awe. Let us take a moment to honor those times that have lifted our spirits, and those on the Zoom are welcome to put their joys into the chat. I don't have any cards for joys. If you want to say in one word something you feel gratitude for in this Thanksgiving weekend, feel free to say that. Progress on a journey.
Happy birthday to Vivian yesterday.
For the blessings we receive, including the gift of life itself, we give our thanks. Amen. With the Buddhist monk, Matthew Ricard, who is really Elaine in this exchange. It's not the best thing to say, but I can easily imagine wanting certain people to suffer. How are we supposed to deal gracefully with our polar opposites in a world that feels increasingly about polarities? I mean, the Dalai Lama could talk to Vladimir Putin all he wants, but Putin's not going to say, "Your compassion has changed me."
Once, a long time ago, someone said to me, "Who is the person you would like to spend 24 hours alone with?" I said, "Saddam Hussein." I said, "Maybe." maybe some small change in him might be possible. When we speak of compassion, you want everyone to find happiness, no exception. You cannot just do that for those who are good to you or close to you. It has to be universal. You may say that Putin and Bashar al-Assad are the scum of humanity, and rightly so. But compassion is about remedying the suffering and its cause. How would that look? You can wish that the system that allowed someone like that to emerge is changed. I sometimes visualize Donald Trump going to hospitals, taking care of people, taking migrants into his home. You can wish that the cruelty, the indifference, the greed may disappear from these people's minds. That's compassion. That's being impartial.
But why does compassion have to be universal?
Because this is different from moral judgment. It doesn't prevent you from saying that those are walking psychopaths, that they have no heart. But compassion is to remedy suffering wherever it is, whatever form it takes, and whoever causes it. So, what is the object of compassion here? It is the hatred and the person under its power. If someone beats you with a stick, you don't get angry with the stick. You get angry with the person. These people that we're talking about are like sticks in the hands of ignorance and hatred. We can judge the acts of a person at a particular time, but compassion is wishing that the present aspect of suffering and the causes of suffering may be remedied.
Well, what are the limits of compassion? Could blowing up a pipeline be a compassionate act?
Well, we discussed a lot in the meetings with the Dalai Lama at the time of Kosovo, what we call surgical violence. But the problem is, if it triggers a chain reaction leading to escalation on both sides. Also, if the barrel is bad, all the apples get rotten, so the system has to change. You can see that with this deep divide now in the United States based on ignorance. Delusion is a cause of suffering. If you could get rid of that, that will alleviate suffering in many forms.
Well, not to reduce 2,500 years of contemplative science to a single sentence, but is there a thought that you can suggest to people that they can carry in their minds that might be helpful to them as they go through life's challenges?
If you can, as much as possible, cultivate that quality of human warmth, wanting genuinely for other people to be happy, that's the best way to fulfill your own happiness. This is also the most gratifying state of mind. Our second reading by Leslie Jamieson is Empathy is a Choice We Make. Empathy isn't just something that happens to us, a meteor shower of synapses firing across the brain. It's also a choice we make to pay attention, to extend ourselves. It's made of exertion, that dowdier cousin of impulse. Sometimes we care for another because we know we should, or because it's asked for. But this doesn't make our caring hollow. The act of choosing simply means we've committed ourselves to a set of behaviors greater than the sum of our individual inclinations. This confession of effort chafes against the notion that empathy should always rise unbidden, that genuine means the same thing as unwilled, that intentionality is the enemy of love. But I believe in intention, and I believe in work. I believe in waking up in the middle of the night and packing our bags and leaving our worst selves for better ones.
When and to whom do we show compassion? Who is deserving of our compassion? Is everyone inside the circle? Is there an imperative to show universal compassion? Matthew Ricard believes so. He believes that compassion is not linked to retribution. We don't withhold compassion from someone because they behaved poorly. We can abhor someone's actions, yet still show compassion to them. How does this sit with you? Is compassion something to be given out freely to all, or is it contingent upon a person's actions and whether they show contrition? Who deserves our compassion? Leslie Jameson says, compassion is a choice. When and to whom do you then want to show compassion? We're going to take 5 minutes to discuss these questions in small groups of 3 to 4 people. You can gather with those sitting near you, or those in Zoom will go into rooms. Please make sure that everybody in your group has a chance to speak before anybody speaks a second time. And of course, it's always fine if you just want to be an active listener in a group, or if you prefer to sit by yourself to contemplate the questions, that's also fine. So we will consider these questions. Is compassion something to be given out freely to all? Or is it contingent upon a person's actions and whether they show contrition? When and to whom do you choose to show compassion? So I'm going to invite you now to move into the conversation time, and I will hit the chime to signal you when the 5 minutes is up.
Have at it, folks. Come on. This reading, Surviving Together, is by Kate Landis. She is a Unitarian Universalist minister who recently served interimly at the UU Church of Akron. And for those who may remember, her life partner is our former church member, Jay Gretsch. We live in a strange time. Certainly, different tribes have warred, like the Israelis and Palestinians, since the beginning of time. The world has always been a violent place. My own country was founded on the genocide of Native people. But now, the whole world is our village. Now, with my smartphone, I can see the agony of our human siblings across the world. Watch the children fleeing from airstrikes in Syria, old women dying of hunger in Yemen, teenage gunshot victims being carried from a high school in the United States in real time. How can our minds conceive of this level of sorrow? How can our hearts not break every moment? Terrible things have always happened, but now we witness nearly every loss. The only way we survive this modern agony is together. We need a community of kind people we can grasp hold of when the grief of being alive right now threatens to sweep us away. People we can mourn with when being human is almost unbearably painful. I turn to my church family when I feel this deep sorrow, and I am embraced. We light candles, we sing songs of mourning, and sometimes God herself shows up to remind us that while life is often very difficult, it can also be beautiful, especially when we see holiness in each other's faces. We practice our faith together, trying to be kind, trying to forgive, trying to be awake in the midst of suffering. We lean into our faith tradition and into each other.
Our next reading is from Reverend Millspow. Religion is as much about faith in humanity as it is about faith in deity. And many of us find that over and over, our faith in humanity gets tested. We are immersed in a culture that's deeply corrupted by selfishness, greed, and oppression-born privilege and fear. It's all too easy for us to justify the dehumanization, ostracization, suffering, and death of others. It's all too easy for us to devalue some humans' lives and feel somehow like we're still good, upstanding, moral people. Religion at its best asks us to do better than this, to rise above the selfishness and status-seeking, the othering and xenophobia that comes so easily to us. Religion at its best, and our Unitarian Universalist faith, calls us to honor that which is sacred in each person, even those we might hate, even those we might find disgusting. It impels us to accept on faith that there is a sacred spark, a worthy spark in every person. This can sound mundane, but it's very radical, revolutionary even. Each person sacred, each person worthy. Accepting this on faith changes how we live. In this time when so many of us live in fear of a dehumanizing political regime, let us renew our pledge to live out those sacred and humane teachings that draw us toward compassion, love, and justice in ever-widening circles of care. Well, extending compassion to all, including those who arouse our anger, disdain, fear, or sadness, is a spiritual challenge. After all, we are human. Our religious community, our faith, are resources that we can draw on to help us live out our ideals. How do we draw on our UU faith and this specific UU community to help us live a life of compassion? What aspects of our faith help us to be the person that we want to be? How has your participation in this community helped you be a compassionate person? How can we draw strength from our church community to aid us in living out our aspirations to be compassionate people? We're going to again break into small groups for 5 minutes. As before, you're welcome to be an active listener or reflect on your own if you prefer. And you can discuss this question on the slide. How do we draw on our UU faith and this specific UU community to help us live a life of compassion? And again, I'll chime when we're done with our discussion time. If you feel like you were only beginning those conversations, we invite you to continue them at our coffee hour.
This spiritual community thrives in its shared life of worship, community, and ministry as each of us participates in the circle of giving and receiving. This is possible due to your generous gifts, your time, your care, your finances. There is recognition that we are all connected. Thank you. To help others in our community thrive, we also give to agencies and organizations in Kent and beyond that serve those in need. As November comes to its close, our special collection is for Kent Social Services. They are committed to feeding the body and spirit of vulnerable people in our wider community through the provision of hot meals, groceries, and care. In the spirit of gratitude for the gift of one another in this community and the abundance that makes generosity possible, we now give and receive the offering as a sign of our shared commitment to the life and work of this congregation and beyond. Thank you.
I wanted to share some gratitude for all the musicians who are up here today doing this practice together. This is a spiritual practice, and we'll be chanting the names of one of the bodhisattvas, which is an enlightened being who comes back to be a teacher. And this bodhisattva is the teacher of deep listening and compassion. And so the first time, the name will be repeated 3 times in each version of the chant. And the first time, the practitioners are invited to connect with their pain and their heart. And the second time, they're invited to connect with everyone in the room, to open their heart to those in the room. And the third time, with all beings. And so you're invited to practice deep listening and attend to your heart.
I invite you now, as our service comes to a close, to say the words for extinguishing the chalice with me. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of the community, or the fire of commitment. May we carry these in our hearts and minds until we are together again. I have two announcements. One is that we don't have anyone signed up for coffee hour next week, so if somebody wants to look into that. And then the second is that we've been giving holiday gifts to children in foster care every year for the last few years. There's a tree out there that has a white star on it and also a blue piece with it, and they're asking if you want to buy a gift for a child. The gifts tend to be $25 or less. To please take the blue one with you, and they need the gifts, though, next Sunday to get them distributed out in time. So the tree is out in the lobby, and you can contact Wenman or Michelle Bors with questions. And so we send you with these words.
To worship God is nothing other than to serve the people.
It does not need rosaries, prayers, carpets, or robes.
All peoples are members of the same body, created from one essence.
If fate brings suffering to one member, the others cannot stay at rest. And now may you go in peace, bringing your love out to the world.